All right, so today we're going to review objective 6, which is using a graphing utility to approximate local maxima and local minima, and to determine where a function is increasing or decreasing. Okay. So to begin with, we have this function f of x equals 2x cubed minus 3x plus 1. The first thing you're going to do is graph the function. Okay, so step 1 is you're going to graph the end of it. And to graph, we put it into y equals. Do you remember that? So we're going to go to y equals. I'm going to get my calculator, like, oh, there's stuff on it. How do I reset my calculator? Nope. Second plus 712. Second plus 712. It's imperative that you do that because are you the only person using your calculators in this class? No, you don't know what settings someone else has made. You don't know what tables, graphs they've put in. Does that make sense? Second plus 712. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go to y equals. In y equals, I'm going to put in my function, my equation. We have 2x to the third minus 3x plus 1. Your calculators are way more updated than mine. So when you press the caret, it should make a little number, right? Mine does not. Mine just caret and puts the third. All right. So all I did was put in the information that's on the paper in front of you. And we have 2x to the third minus 3x plus 1. Okay. Step 2, we're going to change our domain. We need to make this graph. And because they give us a domain, so notice here, they say that this is our x min and this is our x max. Do we see that? So to change our x min or x max, we're going to press, we're going to press window. So I'm going to go to window. And I'm going to put in, what is my x min? -2. What is my x max? 2. And I'm going to count by a half just because it's a really zoomed in. So I'm going to count by a little smaller interval. Okay. Once I've put this in, I'm going to graph. So then step 3 is to graph. And how do I graph? By pressing graph. So recapping what we've done so far, step 1, we put in y equals. Step 2, we changed our window to match our restrictions. And step 3, we're going to press graph. Okay? Yes. So I hit graph and show your neighbor if your calculator looks like this. Oh, probably should open that. Yeah. Okay. Now, I want you to look at the graph that I have that I took a screenshot of. Notice here that my graph is a little more zoomed in, right? The reason why my graph is zoomed in more is because I also changed my max and my min of my y value. Do you see that? So if I wanted to make this graph, I can always go back to window and change those values as well. So if I want my min for my y to be -4 and my max to be +4, which is what I have here, I can do that and hit graph and it'll zoom in a little more so that I can see a little more details of what's happening. Okay. You can change your window as need be. Does that make sense? Questions, comments, concerns so far? All right. Now we're going to find our local maxima and our local minima. When you look here, when you look at our graph, can you clearly see where we have a max and where we have a min? Do you see that? So we can clearly see our max and we can clearly see our min. Okay. We want the calculator to tell us those values. Does that make sense? Okay. For the calculator to tell us where our max and our min are, this is what we're going to do. We're going to press second And then we're going to press trace. So we're going to press second trace, and you should see the words maximum and minimum. So I'm going to press second trace. Does it say it? It does. So to get the max, it's 4. Do we see that? To get the min, I'm going to press 3. Yes? Okay. You don't have to do this, but for me, I like to do it in order. So I like to do whatever's happening from the left to the right first. So from the left, I have my maximum first, right? So I'm going to find the maximum first. So I'm going to press 4 to get my maximum. Okay. Now, in order to get this answer, you see, I call this my little spider, my little Blinky spider. His name is Blinky. So I'm going to make Blinky move to the left. And the reason why is it tells me go left bound. So I need to go to the left of my maximum. Are you with me? So it doesn't matter how far left you go. You just need to go to the left of the maximum. Once you're to the left of the maximum, you're then going to press enter. Then it's going to tell you need to go where? To the right of the maximum, right? To the right bound. And again, it doesn't matter how far right you go, as long as you go to the right, and then you press enter. And it's like, is this the area you think your maximum is at? And you're like, yeah, I feel like it is. So then you press enter. It does some thinking, and it says, haha, you're right. Good job. Here's your maximum. Okay. Any section of the graph. Okay, okay, so you can do it for anything. And then now I have the maximum of that graph. Okay, what I did for the maximum, I'm going to do the same thing for the minimum. So now I'm going to go second trace, and I'm going to go to minimum. I'm going to travel to the left of the minimum. Again, it doesn't matter how much, so I can stop here because that's to the left of it. Then I'm going to take Blinky and move him to the right. And your calculator is going to ask, so you think your minimum is in between these two areas? And I'm like, yeah, I think it is. And it's going to tell me, oh, you're right. There's your minimum. Good job. And so there's your maximum and your minimum of your graph. Okay. You guys are going to need to learn patience and understand that if it doesn't happen right away, do it again. There's going to be a lot of things you do in life that's not going to go great the first time. But I bet you won't give up on it. So same thing here. If it doesn't go right the first time, you want to try it again. Okay. So we found our maximum, we found our minimum, and that's where they are. Okay. Remember, the X is the where it's located, and the Y is what the value is, right? The X is where it's located, and the Y is what it is. The where and the what, the where and the what, okay? X marks the spot. What are you getting there? Okay. How do you feel about local maximum and minimum so far? Okay. All right. Now, once you've identified your local max and your min, you can tell me where it's increasing and decreasing. Does that make sense? Because I now know that my max happens here at negative 0.707. I know that my min happens here at positive 0.707. So when I'm looking for intervals of increase and intervals of decrease, I can say where it's happening, right? From left to right, this is an increase, this is a decrease, and this is an increase. So all of my increases are from negative infinity to negative 0.07, and from positive 0.07 to positive infinity. So those are my intervals of increase. Where is my interval of decrease? And where do I decrease from?
Negative.
There you go. From negative 0.707, 707 thousandths, to positive 707 thousandths, approximately. Your increase and your decrease values are always X's because it's asking you, where do you increase? See the word here? What's the key word? Where. And because it's saying, where do you increase and decrease? You're telling me the X value. Got it? And that's how the graphing calculator helps you find them. Okay, you have to first find out what your maximums and your minimums are in order to tell me where it's increasing and decreasing. Got it? All right. Yes.